All right, we're back with episode 13 now of the Illuvium Rundown, and we're just going to get right into this one. So, Illuvium Zero Alpha Season 1 is delayed. We've been in Alpha Season 0 for a month and a half. We were expecting on February 21st to get this Alpha Season 1, and it's not coming. It looks like we're going to have another few weeks at least. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a little disappointing. I'm not overly surprised about it. As I was playing Illuvium Zero, I was thinking, like, how is this all going to work in terms of this this launch date? And there hadn't really been much news about it, so I was like, is something coming here where we're going to get delayed? Inevitably, it did happen. But yeah, it's, the team needs to figure some things out. They were talking about the marketplace that they want to add. And there's different aspects of Illuvium Zero that they need to add, so there's going to be different things that they're bringing in. So that'll be good. I think, actually, today we have Diraji on, and I think that's going to be good to ask him about, like, maybe the timeline that we might see for that. There's been some talk a little bit about a couple-week delay or whatever, but nothing really nailed down, but maybe he can give us a little more insight into that, so that'll be good. But it's definitely disappointing.
Yeah, and it didn't surprise me either. I did have a video that I was timing out perfectly with the Season 1 transition. I launched it anyways. It actually performed pretty well. But yeah, that was a little disappointing. But yeah, it wasn't really unexpected. Like, I kind of saw something like that coming. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, with Illuvium, we know that dates are never really...
They're loose.
Yeah, they're very loose.
They're loose.
Even when there's an exact date given, we know that can always change.
Yeah, that's like the growing pains of it, though, right? They're such a young company. Like, these things are going to happen. This is the first time they're doing these things. It's the first time for all of us being in a thing like this. So you just never know. I mean, it is interesting to think now, with the timeline pushed back, how is that going to affect, like, the window that we're going to have to get these blueprints? Like, we're going to have a smaller window? Or like...
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to bring up. This getting delayed for Alpha Season 1 doesn't mean there's going to be a delay on the back end for Open Beta. Because Open Beta for the main game and Illuvium Zero is all going to launch at the same time. That's what they've said for the longest time. They want Illuvium Zero to come out so fuel can be made for the regular game. They don't want one out and not the other. So whenever that day is for Open Beta, it's going to happen regardless.
Yep.
I don't think this is going to delay that process. But what it does mean is we have a smaller window to get these 15 blueprints.
Yep.
We've seen around Twitter there are people who have collected all 15 blueprints in just a few weeks, which is crazy. I still haven't. I'm on almost level 1,000 on my Tier 3 land, and I think I still only have 9 or 10 of them. So if you're not getting lucky, it's going to be tough to collect all 15 of these blueprints, especially if you're in a Tier 1 or a Tier 2 land. So that really just means that they might be more valuable down the line, which is something I'm happy about.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's a good point. I've seen, like you said on Twitter, I've seen Godson and I've seen Viper putting out these, like, they'll have these, like, blueprint farms, essentially.
Yeah.
And they're like, it gets kind of crazy, but for this window of time, you do want to maximize your potential to get blueprints. So like having those kind of things is going to be beneficial for those guys. So I don't mind. My land does not look like that.
Yeah.
But once now after seeing that, I am going to try to build it up in that way a little bit more for this.
Yeah, I'm actually preparing myself a little bit more for it. Once we got that delay, I was like, all right, I have time now. I probably have 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So just last night, I started getting rid of all the paths. I started pulling everything to one corner.
Yep.
And I'm going to see how I can optimize it for the best efficiency to get these blueprints. So maybe I even come out with another video in a few weeks whenever I figure that out.
Well, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to say the least. But moving on to, like, a brighter topic, right? So let's go... Illuvatars, we got the launch party coming on March 7th, and they actually announced the time. It's going to be 8 a.m. UTC, which I believe for us is 3 in the morning.
Yeah, so I was worried.
This
is something I had mentioned a few times in Discord. Like, I have to work that day, and do I need to take the day off, a vacation? So the fact that this comes at 3 in the morning was, like, kind of a relief for me.
Yep.
But I'm not going to get a whole lot of sleep that day.
No,
I'll tell you that for sure.
That's going to be a grind of a day. And I did take the day off. I wasn't going to take any chances. I wanted to make sure I was there for the sales. So Now I can go back to bed after, I guess.
Yeah, and I'll be going to work.
Yeah.
Be dragging through the day.
Yeah.
But while I'm dragging through the day, I'll be watching this launch party. It looks like they're going to be streaming it for 24 hours. Is that what I saw?
That's what it's looking like. Yeah. It seems like it's going to be an all-day event. They're going to be giving out prizes. It's going to be opening up discs on stream. We're going to have the alpha sale going on, so it's going to be super exciting. Hopefully generate a lot of buzz even outside of the Illuvium community.
Yeah.
Get some other people checking it out. Maybe getting onto Layer 2 IMX a little bit when they haven't before. I think a lot of people, it's like they use OpenSea, right? But like, this may be their first introduction to Mutable X, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
This is just going to be a huge event in general for the NFT space. I think it's really going to show the NFT space growing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you see a lot of like the Bored Ape sales with the high gas fees and the craziness, and then like Illuvium had their land sale that went smoothly. This is just another example of that. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really cool. We're going to hear from, Kieran, Aaron, the whole crew. Yeah. I'm sure Roger will be on there a ton. Andrew, and it's going to be cool.
I couldn't find too many details on this, but it looks like it might be hosted on Discord but streamed to a launch party section of the website.
That's how I'm understanding it, but you're right. There isn't a lot of details yet, but I'm sure that's coming soon.
Yeah. And it sounded like they want to get as many packs opened on the stream as possible.
Absolutely.
So it might be something where you can be in the Discord, request to come up, share your screen, and open your pack right on this stream.
Yep.
Again, that's not 100%. That's just kind of the vibe I was getting from that. But I'm sure we'll find out more in the next week or so. This is already coming next week.
Yeah. And someone's going to pull that first holo on stream. That's going to be cool. And, like, there's also different milestones to hit during the day. I know one of them's, like, the first 5,000 packs you open, everyone gets, like, an emote, sent to their wallet. So, like, that kind of stuff. They're going to have all sorts of creative stuff like that. So, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to follow and just to have another event like this. We really haven't had anything where you can actually transact since the land sale. So
right, and that was a lot of fun.
It was. Really was. That was a 3-day event. That was, like, crazy, but it was cool. But the way they did that was also very structured. So like you had the different time slots. This is going to be a little bit more of a free for all. And I was talking to you about this before the show. Is like I don't know if it's going to sell out in 10 minutes or it's going to not sell out after 3 days. I don't know what to think.
I don't know what to expect either. But for the people who are really into Illuvium, if you watch this stream, get ready for the FOMO.
Yeah,
because you're gonna see all these open and you're just gonna want to get into it. That's why I'm almost glad I'm going to work. Because once I leave, I'm not going to bring my hardware wallet with me. I don't have my wallet connected to my work computer.
Yep.
So I'm going to buy those 10, the 10 I plan on getting, early in the morning. And then throughout the day, I'm not going to be able to FOMO into any more. Maybe when I get home, we'll see what happens, if they're still available. But it's going to be exciting. I can't wait for it. Like you said, it's like the next big thing since the land sale.
Yeah. And hopefully I can contain myself. I don't want to, I'm trying to think of a strategy where like I buy some of the alpha discs, but then I also have some money to try to like get stuff on the secondary market, and maybe a holo comes up at a low price and then you can just kind of snipe a few things.
We'll see. I'm going to be paying attention to that
We'll see. But there's a good chance that I use all of my SILV2 in the run up, and then I don't have any to convert back over. So that's just part of the game. It's that's crypto.
Yeah. And so we've heard about different partnerships for these Illuvitars. We haven't heard who these partners are. Are we expecting to see these right on launch? Like, during this launch party, are we going to see Nike joins Illuvitars, and then you have a couple accessories with the Nike symbol on it?
Dude, yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. We got some hints from Kieran in the Bryson stream that he did on Twitch. No, we don't know any names of companies. Like, I know Nike's had NFT stuff. Adidas worked with Bored Apes. They have a Bored Ape. Porsche was another one that recently had NFT stuff going on. And Kieran said they're working with like 3 of the biggest brands in the industry, traditional industry, that has also had a crossover with NFTs.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, just think about like Iluvatar's, it has a hat, it's got like an Illuvium logo. Maybe that logo is now Nike, right? Like that's what we're looking at here. And then like you have if it is Nike, then you have Nike sharing with 20 million followers that it has the
Yeah.
Illuvium name.
And it
And
doesn't necessarily have to be clothing brands.
right.
Like, think about if it was Coca-Cola. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, have you seen those like collectors where they have like a room of just Coca-Cola stuff everywhere?
Yep.
If there's an Iluvatar that's holding a can of Coke, which we learned this week that guys who drink Coca-Cola have bigger balls. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Some crazy study. It was going around. But anyways, if I don't even believe it.
I like Coke, so there you go.
Hey, I'll drink it with a little bit of whiskey sometimes too.
There you go.
I don't even know where I was going. But yeah, okay, yeah. So if you have a Coca-Cola can in an Iluvatar image,
Atlas
you're
with
gonna
a bottle of Coke.
you're gonna be bringing in those Coca-Cola fans who don't know anything about Illuvium. So any kind of collector item or brand that they can bring in is just gonna draw more people to it.
Yeah, dude. I'm pretty excited for that. I think the possibilities are endless when it comes to the branding aspect of this. And like just hearing Kieran talk about it a little bit, like, dude, I don't know how they keep these secrets because I'd be like so bad.
They don't let Grant know.
They don't let Grant know. That's part of
That's
it.
part
And
of
I'm
it.
sure there's a big amount of money on the line if they do say something.
Yeah, a lot of NDAs.
But like you could just tell Kieran really wanted to say something.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool to see. We'll see. Partnerships are definitely coming, and he like I said, he did say 3 big partners potentially. So it's not just one. So guys, we're looking at some pretty big stuff with the Iluvatars. It's a big opportunity for the team.
Yeah, I'm hoping they announce this during this launch party, and these are available in this first wave.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing I want to touch on with that, it sounds like from what he was saying, is you're gonna have these like special, like almost like adapter packs or whatever you want to call it, where like you'll have these discs that are specific to Nike or Adidas, where you can get different accessories and new alluvials, that kind of thing. So that's kind of how he described it. But once again, we do not know almost any of the details. But it sounds pretty promising. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think we'll find out soon. But yeah, let's turn the page a little bit and get on a call with Daraji. So let's go.
All right.
All right, Daraji, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing well. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us. I mean, let's get right into it. I want to know. So you're a council member. For anyone watching who's not aware of that, I want to know just the behind the scenes of what went on during the Iluvatar IIP, because you got a lot of pushback at first, and then there was some quick changes made, which I was pretty impressed with. But just how does that process work? Who are you talking to? Whatever you can tell us on that.
Yes, so this is actually my second epoch being on council, and I say this one is very different than the previous one. And so taking nothing against the previous council, it was like we have private Discord chat. We use that a lot. We have bi-weekly meetings. So every 2 weeks we'd meet for an hour, hour and a half, and then occasionally a couple of us would stick around and talk afterwards. This epoch's been entirely different in regards to the engagement and the involvement. And that was something that we talked from the last election of wanting the council to be more present, more involved, and more clarity on what's going on. So this is even great to answer a little bit further. Council has been incredibly engaged, same forums. And so we chat a ton, either private messages to each other, and then chats that are set up for all of us to share amongst just council members. And then certain folks on the team have access and we can pull them in on demand. Meetings have really been weekly at this point, and it's anywhere between an hour and 3 hours, and kind of the same deal of a couple of us stick around and post game after the meetings as well, after Kieran and some of the other busier folks have to take off. But the week of Iluvatars, I will tell you, that was intense. And so it was going in the chat constantly. We were reading, commenting to each other. And then we got the group together quickly multiple times. And so I'd say it was either 3 or 4 days in a row that we met for at least an hour. And so like we'd worked on the proposal, the original one that everybody hated and went out. We worked on that for hours. We saw what happened. So we were all kind of on when it got launched. And it's like, we were expecting some pushback. It's like, we knew it wasn't final. We knew things were going to be challenged, but it's like, let's not refine it any further. Let's get it out there, see what the feedback actually is. And then we're like, oh crap, we've got to get together very quickly and fix this. And so within hours, we had a call with Aaron and then all of the council on, and we probably talked for another 3 hours and kind of worked through what are the challenges, what are the pros and cons. And I know you talked about this in one of your recent videos of like Aaron really kind of turned you around on some of the things that he was thinking about. And so it was really good to have the council push questions both to Kieran and Aaron, different perspectives. Neither of them got 100% their way. I'd say the council is great right now that we have some very different opinions on it. And so we were all pushing different things. And it really was a negotiation. And then a couple of us were just typing live of like, okay, what do we make of this thing? And we got out the new version within about 12 hours of the initial post.
Yeah.
But
now,
intense, a lot of work.
Yeah. How does that work between the council and the main team? Because I mean, from what I can see is the four of you, or including Kieran, couldn't just be like, we want these to be 100 ETH a piece. You know, like you actually had to get some guidance from the team. So when you were negotiating the prices or whatever and thinking about it, how does the Illuvium team fit in with the council?
So it's definitely, they are the ones that have a lot of information. And so we've changed things and we've made some different agreements this time that have got us more inside, more detail. But still, it is the team has the vision, a lot of the information, and the council kind of weighs in as guidance. And what are we hearing from the community? What do we think the pushback's going to be? What do we anticipate? But getting some different representation from what's the team thinking about. And then we have a pretty decent showing across different projects to kind of see, okay, who else is doing something similar? What are other price points that we're seeing? What's been the community response to that? How do we compare? How do we add value? And so there really is a lot of discussion on that. And that's certainly one of the big things that changed between original Illuvitar first proposal in the new round, and then the revised proposal that we actually passed.
Yeah, I really was impressed with how much of a response we were getting in Discord. You know, every time I asked a question, it was either you or Scoriox was in there. You know, all the council members were there to answer the questions, and how quick you updated that IIP. So I just, thank you for doing that.
No, our pleasure. I mean, that's what we're supposed to be here for. So
yeah.
I would agree with what Nick's saying. The turnaround on that was real quick. From us from the outside looking in, it was basically we started to hear rumblings about these alpha discs a little bit and a little bit of chatter. Didn't really know exactly what it was going to be or if it was going to happen. And then the first IIP comes out, the chaos ensues. It was fun to cover because it's a lot of news, right? So for us, it was like, oh, this is very interesting. Taking all that feedback in, and then basically 24 hours later, you guys had the updated proposal, and it completely shifted, and it went from a lot of downvotes to a lot of upvotes. So you guys, I mean, at the end of the day, the decentralized nature of the council, it ended up doing its job, and the community felt like they were heard. And now we're kind of past that point. So now it's like, we got Illuvitars coming March 7th. Like we even know the time, 8 a.m. UTC. Like we have it all ready to go. So now it's just that push to the end. And hopefully Kieran can get his voice back. But I just want to say too, great job with that. You guys really did well to get through that. And it sounds like a lot of hours were put in. So good work there.
I definitely want to jump in and thank the community too, because like you said, huge, I can't recall another proposal that had the votes on it, either up or down, that we saw in that. And the engagement wasn't just a couple folks. And so that really is what decentralized governance should be. And I would say more so than previous discussions that have been had over controversial topics, folks kept it really professional. Like there was not the name calling, there was not the moderation needs. I know there were certain things that a couple people were pushing the same point over and over again. And I did give a feedback on that. But at the same time, it was a lot of different opinions and really respectful of how folks managed it. And so I was super proud of the DAO at that point.
It really showed me how much people really care about the game and how it's going to develop. I mean, I was in there too. I was fighting back a little bit, just giving my opinions, but it's just because, we all care. We want to see the best product come out.
Yeah. And you never know, like on the internet, you just don't know how people are going to react, and it can get crazy. It's the internet, but I think that just shows how healthy the community is, and like we're all genuinely here for the right reasons. We're not. Some people might be more speculating and just trying to make a quick buck, but most of the community here, they do care about the game, and they want to play a good game. And Illuvatars are part of that, and this is a big part of the runway in securing the future of Illuvium. So like this, next couple of weeks is going to be huge for like the project as a whole. So it was a lot to take in, but the community did well, and the council did what it needed to do. So I'm happy with the final product that we have right now. The other thing that's been going on here, we got the Illuvium Zero delay, and I don't know how involved you guys were in that process. From the outside looking in, it seems like the team was like, hey, we just want to push this back. But do they talk to the council about that too? Or how did that end up coming to be?
We did talk about it a little bit in advance. And so I'll say straight out, like, I'm disappointed. Like it's one of those things, a date was given. We want to stick to that as much as possible. And it's something that the council pushes on a regular basis of help us understand the cadence, where are we at, the launch timing. And now we're actually seeing a challenge where potentially it is going to be ready right at about the same time as we've already committed to the Illuvatar sale. And given that both of those are big news and it's going to be a big deal to start the hunt for blueprints as well as the opening, it's like, okay, now we got to figure out how do we line these two up together. And so we did have information in advance, and there was actually some good discussion, and the council pushed some things of, one of the challenges that we continue to highlight is iOS and what's the player base that could play it on Apple. And that's not something that is available right now. And so that was something that we discussed of, is that a big deal? Is this a bad look for us to go out and start the actual potential value generation of blueprints with a part of the community not being able to play? Other things that are talked about is some of the other features that would bring in monetization. And we get into it. We had Johnny on a call with us and some back and forth with him of like, what are the timing implications? What if we were to say, wait for this, what would that mean in terms of a readiness factor? And that really is something that the council takes seriously. And I know the team takes seriously, that we really focus on. We've got to have a quality product. There's just so much crap in the space. And especially when you get into dealing with blockchain and taking money, security is non-negotiable. And so that's something that, again, we had awareness of, like I said, disappointing, but I think it's the right call for now. And now we just got to figure out, how do we slot that in compared to when the Illuvatar sale starts, and then what can we do for this IZ update?
Yeah, I mean, the Apple part of it is huge. Like we're both iPhone users, so like we get that, and
the iPad too. I want it on the iPad.
Yeah, we'd love to play the game on our phones, right? And the accessibility is just huge. I saw people on Twitter like playing on a train or at dinner or whatever. I was
a little jealous of that.
I'm at work all day. I'm like thinking about playing Illuvium Zero. I can't play it, so. Hopefully that's coming, but I know that's obviously not Illuvium's fault. That's more so Apple's fault, right? They're pretty anti-NFT at this point. And yeah, it sounds like things are going to be coming fairly quickly with the update for Illuvium Zero. So that's good to hear.
One more question I want to ask before we let you go. Just more about Gov V2. Is it ready to go for the next epoch? I know there was talks originally about it could come earlier. Anything you can tell us on that?
So I'll say it has taken a little bit of a backseat the past couple weeks, just because we've been so busy with the other proposals. Like we needed to get things out with RevDiz and get that cleared before we went ahead. We wanted to get Illuvatar sorted out. Obviously, that took a ton of time. There's also some input that we've been getting in the background. So from some external consultants, some legal folks, and I'll say like I was on the team that started writing GovV2 like October, November of last year. And a lot has changed in the space since then. And we look at what's going on with FTX. We look at kind of just the overall regulatory impact. And so we have done a lot to get the right perspective from some experts outside and make sure, are we doing the right thing? The good thing is a lot of the feedback that we've gotten is we're best in class. Like, even if we just launched what we have today, we're in a really good spot. The big thing that the council wants to make sure with internal legal and some of the consultants is, are we painting ourselves into a corner with anything that's coming? And if there are things that we can avoid now before like we pass it, then we have to immediately change it, or it sets us up for some raising our hand to regulators or something like that that would be viewed negatively. And so it is a bit of a conservative approach, but it's such an important stage for the DAO to move forward. I will say, like, we're doing everything that we can. I want to make sure that we do get it approved this epoch. And to kind of play out how I anticipate, and this is my personal opinion, so not necessarily vetted by the council and all that, we're going to approve something probably, I'll use the term soon, get that feedback again. And what that's going to do is kick off some of the web development and other team resource development to enable what we need to happen for GovV2. And so we want to avoid the conflict where the team is building and it's not actually approved. And so it's probably going to be a multi-stage process of, here's GovV2, here's the structure, here's the voting systems. Team, go make this thing after we pass initial approval. And then just like we're doing for a new product, of like, team, come back to us and give us a timeline update, but when do we think it's going to actually be ready to host the election on our own, do what we need to have all of the communication properly set up, and then let's kick off the new election season. And so I think we did a really good job last epoch of having kind of a strategic, let's get the right number of candidates. It's going to be even more important with the new structure where you have multiple sub-councils, and folks are going to want to know, like, I can only run for one. When do I commit to that one? What is the right spot for me? We know there's going to be a lot of folks that have questions about what are the sub-councils and the responsibilities. And so that, like, probably 2 months in advance of the election and transition is going to be another really busy time of answering questions, making sure that we have the best candidates from the community, but we're still doing everything we can to try to make sure that that lines up with the current 6-month epoch.
Whenever we do get a past IIP for this, we'll probably try to get you back on this show. And I feel like you're going to be able to explain it better than anybody else.
Now, yeah. I say me and Annie have definitely been all over this, and props to the other council members as well. But this is something that we have a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
And Daraji, I could see you and Nick ending up on like the economics council one day. I know he might want to make a run, so we'll see. Maybe you guys are working together on one of those.
No, definitely. That's we need good folks from the community that want to participate in community side, the gaming, the marketing, and the ecosystem. So there's going to be a lot of spots available. It's going to really change from what we have right now.
All right. Well, we don't want to hold you up too much longer. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been very informational. Like I said, we'll ask you to come back on someday in the future.
Always here. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks, Raji. Have a good one.
Thank you, Daraji, for the call. Great information. We'll definitely have you back on again. And I'll also leave I'll leave some links for him down below. So make sure you check that out. But we're gonna move on to Pokemon versus Illuvium. And what I've learned, especially making some shorts here on YouTube, whenever I do something with Pokemon, it gets a lot of views. So I know there are a lot of people in the Illuvium community who are into Pokemon, who have grown up with Pokemon. I posted something on Twitter where it showed what age you were in the first Pokemon game you played, and I got a lot of attention on that. So I just wanted to do a little segment here of just, Pokemon versus Illuvium. And like, if Pokemon went more blockchain, how would it look? If Illuvium, well, we know Illuvium is kind of trying to feed off of that nostalgia from Pokemon. But, I mean, what do you think about the comparison?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because obviously Pokemon's like the giant in the room. Like, that's who Illuvium is aspiring to be, right? That's who we want to take down. It's like David versus Goliath, right? And it's going to be interesting to see if Illuvium can get there. I think in terms of obviously being innovative, Illuvium's way ahead right now, but they don't have the following that Pokemon has. They don't have the the time in the industry, right?
Yeah.
And everything that goes into that. Like Pokemon's huge, so but at the same time, it doesn't seem like Pokemon's being creative in any sort of way. Like they continue to put out kind of the same type of game, just with new Pokemon, and they're not really innovating into other areas like you'd think they would at this point after 25 years of business.
Yeah.
And then you got like I saw recently they had like their 1,000th Pokemon, and it looked like it was like a French fry. It was like I don't know. It just
you got to think from their standpoint. They're probably thinking like, if it's not broken, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No matter what they put out, they have their hardcore fans that are gonna buy the game. They're gonna fall in love with newer Pokemon. But I always wonder, like, what if Pokemon decided to go on a blockchain?
Yeah.
There's already something, I think it's called Pokemon Home, where you can bring some Pokemon in from one game, and you can bring them to other games if they allow it in that certain game. I know not every Pokemon is created for each game, but they have something like that already. There's no marketplace, as far as I know. But what if you could go into these Pokemon games, catch the Pokemon as an NFT, and be able to trade it in the off market? Would that be a problem for Illuvium?
It potentially could be. I think there's different sides of it, right? I think that kind of Pokemon thing would more fall in like the Vive world, where you'd see like, you see some of the mainstreams like Marvel getting involved there. And I think that has its own subsect of the crypto industry. In terms of gaming, in terms of market share of like traditional gamers, maybe they'd be more interested in trying the Pokemon game first before Illuvium.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the crypto side, like people coming from like Bored Apes and stuff, they're gonna check Illuvium first before the Poke. Like, I don't know. It's the mainstream versus like the new kids on the block, right?
Yeah.
And so each side has its like diehards, and then you have all these people in the middle, and which way are they going to go? If Illuvium can put out a really good game, they might sway that way. If Pokemon can come out with something like, I was talking like the Harry Potter game that just came out. That's a mainstream brand that just made this really cool game, and a lot of people are playing it. It's super popular. If Pokemon has something like that, that's also on the blockchain, that's going to be tough to compete with. But do they... that might be 10 years away for them. I don't know how far they are along.
Yeah, and I don't see it happening. Whenever I do post these Pokemon versus Illuvium shorts, I get a lot of trolls in the comments.
Yeah.
And a lot of what they have to say is that, like, they don't like the idea of the NFTs. Like, they don't want a game on the blockchain. But if Pokemon put it on the blockchain, they would adapt.
They would.
So it'd be interesting to see. I really don't think we have to worry about it, because I don't think Pokemon is going to do this anytime soon. Right. I think Illuvium will be established. Maybe we're looking at, the next big bull run or 2 bull runs from now. So it could be 4 to 6 years before Pokemon decides to do this. And I do think at some point they will. I just don't think it's in the near future.
Yeah, and anyone who signs up with Illuvium, it's going to be an uphill battle against these mainstream competitors. The traditional gamers, like, you're always going to have the trolls. And everyone's going to make fun of you until all of a sudden one day the adoption curve has happened and there's no one left to make fun of, right? But that's just kind of how it goes in the crypto industry. Like, looking back to Bitcoin 10 years ago, everyone's making fun of those people too. So it just is what it is. Anytime there's new technology, there's going to be the haters. There's going to be the people who don't want to switch. And that's what it is. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Will
Pokemon and even for me, as deep as I am in Illuvium, every time I look up some stuff with Pokemon, I'm just like, oh, it brings me back to the good old days.
Yeah.
I hope in 10 years from now we get that feeling with Illuvium.
Yeah,
we see those Atlas. And,
that post you made, I was a Pokemon Red guy. That's why I was originally.
Me too.
Yeah,
it was my first game.
And that, most of the reason why I'm into Illuvium is because of Pokemon. And I think that's true of a lot of people. But, I'm not interested in playing Pokemon anymore. And I played Pokemon Go for a while, too. And that was fun. I enjoyed it. But at a certain point, that kind of got old for me as well. And it's like, it just gets too repetitive. That's why I think like Illuvium building out like the overworld, Illuvium Zero, maybe a kart racing game, having more of like the IP similar to like Super Mario, I think is going to do wonders for the industry.
All right. And before we move on, I just want to make one quick note. There was a game called Pokemon Duel, and I actually came up with a concept of Illuvium using the Pokemon Duel style game for a future Illuvium game. There is an idea in the idea section of the Discord. So if you know what Pokemon Duel is, or don't, go check it out. I think it's a pretty interesting concept and idea. Go check it out, have some conversation, tag me in that post if you want. I'm hoping something like that can happen in the future.
We'll get that idea fleshed out too. I know you want to get that out to the people.
Yeah.
So we can put that on my website.
Yeah, I might put it in article form and get it on ramfire.io.
Definitely.
But let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about the ILV showcase, the Illuvium showcase. We just had one from when we're filming this 2 nights ago, and it was great. I know they had one the week before, and before that there was a little hiatus.
Yep.
But it looks like they're back week to week. Grant already said there's going to be another one coming next week. And they are putting out a ton of stuff. You can see how much work is going into all of this. Especially one of my favorite things that I saw was the jiggle on the Atlas. Like, no one knew they wanted the jiggle.
Dude.
But you see the Atlas just turn, and its little face ear things just jiggle a little bit, and you're just like, all right, they're going above and beyond here.
It is. Right? Every time you think something's completed, Grant's like, nope, we're going to do something else to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. The dude has an eye for this stuff that, like, nobody else has. And, like, 3 Atlases ago, I would have said that was great. But they keep doing it. But that jiggle is something. That's, like, they just go next level.
Yeah.
And they kind of have to compete with the mainstream, compete with everything. They have to show that they have like a beautiful product, and they just do that time after time. The showcase coming back has been awesome because I think it was gone for like a month or so. Andrew had computer problems. He had his computer sent in, finally got it back. So it's good to see them back doing that. We saw a lot of the Alluvials getting fully rendered too. I mean, Illuvium's got this awesome render farm at their office. I've heard it sounds like a jet engine. And they have been putting out some really, really cool stuff. Just like beautiful, crisp, clean images and videos, like fully animated stuff of these Alluvials. And I know they're doing it for all of them. So that was cool to see on the showcase as well.
Now, with all of these showcase leaks or whatever, are you afraid the main game's going to come out and nothing's going to feel fresh and new? Because they're showing us a ton. Most mainstream games, like you were just talking about the Harry Potter one, I doubt they really exposed anything before the game came out, and then everything felt fresh and new. Are we going to get to the open beta and we're going to say, like, we've already seen all this, it's already getting old?
Well, it all depends on the lore. We don't know the lore. So if the lore comes out and is awesome, then we know the designs and stuff for a lot of things, but the storyline is what's going to captivate people. And obviously we're like, and a lot of our viewers, we're all like diehards in this. And so we know all the leaks. We're up to date on everything. Yeah. But we don't know anything about the lore. So that I think is going to help.
Yeah, and just as you say that, I can think during this showcase, I think there was probably only about 100 people watching it live. I'm not sure how many views it has at this point. Mm-hmm. But a large portion of the community is not seeing these showcases. So I would say, if you're not already subscribed to the Illuvium channel, subscribe now. We're always going to throw you some leaks of the week and some different things in here. But there is so much in that showcase. It was an hour and a half, I think, the other day, of just constantly new stuff.
It's crazy because you have the showcase, and there's so much there, and then you have Grant also posting in the Leaks channel and Discord. So there's just always stuff coming out. This is what drew me into Illuvium originally, was the transparency, and I've said that before, but like, other projects don't do this.
Yeah, no one can question that there's not a AAA game coming.
Right.
You know? And it still amazes me every time I watch one of these shows, something new that I'm just like, wow, I did not expect that. Like how you're going to be able to slide down things. He was talking about other ways to maneuver around the area. Hopping in the bubble was one thing. There's just going to be so many different ways to move around. Like, each one of these regions is going to be very unique. Yeah. It's not going to be like in some games, like even like Pokemon, where you go to a different region and it's kind of like the same stuff. In Illuvium, you're going to go to one area, you're going to be able to hop in bubbles. Another area, you're going to be able to slide down ice. I'm sure we can fly in something, you know?
So there's the, like, Taiga Boreal is going to have the geyser that you shoot up.
Yep.
The Abyssal Basin's going to have the lily pad that you go on to float around the...
Oh, yeah, that's what you
get to the different
too.
areas.
Yep.
So there's a lot of that. And so this actually, I think we're done with Showcase. This leads into the Leak of the Week.
You go first.
Because my Leak of the Week this week, and once again, favorite segment rolls off the tongue, Leak of the Week is the bubble. Like you just mentioned.
Yep.
That's my Leak of the Week. And when I saw that, I had no idea that there was a bubble coming. Now that there is one, I didn't know how much I wanted a bubble.
Do you think you're going to be able to navigate that bubble around, or is it just going to go in one area and you're going to have to jump out whenever?
So it's not complete. It's going to be in Brightland Steps. And right now you just see it going up. It's like you're on an elevator and you get to like a higher place in the map than you could ever get to just by jumping, right?
Yep.
So that's the concept I see. Now, at some point the bubble pops. So there's that part. Are you going to be able to go forward, backwards, left, right with the bubble?
Did he mention something about you being able to glide? Like, you know, in
like float, I feel like you should be able to float with the bubble to an extent.
Yeah, well, so, okay, what am I thinking
It's a work in progress, so they're not done with the bubble.
The latest Zelda game, or I don't know if it's the latest one anymore, but with Link, how he has the glider and he can glide around.
Yep.
I wonder if there's going to be something like that. You pop the bubble and then you put on your glider and then you can glide around the map.
That's a good point too. Like this is all unknown, but I was super excited to see that. I think anytime you're adding different dynamics like that, and like of course they're going to make that for a reason. So there's going to be a part of the level that you can only get to by bubble, right? Yep. So this kind of thing is just gonna make the game more fun. So I was super excited about that leak.
Yeah.
And like I said, the team did a really good job of keeping that quiet. Because the first time I saw it was when it was in the Leaks channel. And I don't think anybody knew that there was a bubble coming.
No. And even the idea with the lily pads. I'm pretty sure you said there's going to be some areas of the map you need to go on the lily pad to get to.
Yep.
You know, so these things are there for a reason. If you hop into the main game and you see a bubble that you can go in, like, don't ignore it because it's going to go somewhere.
And then maybe this will be a thing, but if you're in the bubble really high up, maybe you're seeing orbs in the sky and like you shoot them from the bubble. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know? Could be hunting alluvials up in the sky.
Could be. Maybe a flying Leviathan or something.
Yeah. We'll see. What do you got for us?
So what I have here is just, I wouldn't call this a new alluvial. It's been out, but we haven't seen it in action yet. I really should have researched the name on this. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but they were calling it the hedgehog alluvial in the showcase.
Yeah.
The little one is it looks like a cute little rat hedgehog. I've seen that one before. I wasn't too into it, but once I saw this second stage and third stage, it kind of spins a little bit like Sonic the Hedgehog too.
Yeah.
And in Sonic, they have Golden Sonic, or
they have the red one, Knuckles. There probably is a gold one now.
At the end of I think the second Sonic movie, he turns into like this gold Sonic, and that's what this reminded me of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and even here it turns from the bluish color to the gold for the second and the third stage here. But these are going to be pretty cool. I believe this is a dust Pokemon. I mean, not got Pokemon in my head. A dust alluvial, I think. It's also going to be, it's a rogue, right? Because I start jumping to the back of the map.
Yeah.
Grant mentioned something about it can attack from distance and then get close and then attack from being close.
Yeah.
So it's got a little bit of both going on there.
From what I understand, is it will typically attack from distance.
Yeah.
But then its Omega, it actually runs up.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
And then I think it must drop back again. I don't know. But what I saw with this little guy, and maybe we'll put this video in as well, is I saw his little tippy toes. Did you see that video of him on his, like, he's just tiptoeing around like he's going to get like a midnight snack or something. Like he's just like a little
Not on the board.
I'll show you the video after.
We'll get that.
It was on the board. It was just like he was doing a little tippy toe.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious. So this is a cute little guy.
Yeah, and this is perfectly how it's set up, where the first stage is just this cute little thing. You don't think it's going to cause too much damage. The second one is like, yeah, I'm growing up a little bit. I'm a little meaner. Yep. But you get to this third stage, and I wouldn't want to mess with that thing.
No, that thing's
nasty. Look at those claws. Look at those eyes. You don't want to be in front of that one. Yeah. It's hard to say what is going to be my favorite alluvial, but this is already getting up there.
Dude, every time there's new ones, like I saw that that mammoth one, the elephant one the other day, and I'm like, dude, that one's pretty cool. It's just like they keep putting out these new ones.
Yeah, I think Grant said something about in the showcase, like, we're gonna have some of those Digletts.
Right.
Some of those, some of those that were like in Pokemon where they're just not really fan favorites of anybody. He said they're gonna have some of those, but I don't believe it. I think there's gonna be people who are, in love with every one of these alluvials because there's so much detail.
Yeah.
It's not like a Diglett. A Diglett has no detail at all. Every one of these are so well put together that they're going to have their fans.
Yeah, for sure. And, you got Sonic the Hedgehog vibes here. You see a little Sandslash in there if you want to go Pokemon.
My favorite gaming system, or my first gaming system when I was a kid, was the Sega Genesis.
I got one right over there.
Yeah, that's right. And I was playing Sonic all the time. That was my favorite one. Yeah. I was into Sonic before I was into Mario. Let's put it that way. So I do like this one.
It's dating us for sure. Pokemon Red and Sonic on Sega. So how old are we?
Right. Yeah, we are getting old. I noticed that in that Twitter post I made about that. Like, there are a lot of people posting, I'm 22, I'm 25, I'm 26, and I'm like, I already broke over that 30 gap there.
It's tough getting old, guys. Don't do it.
You know what? I still feel young. And you know what? Yeah. Just to say this, like, Alluvium is making me feel younger again. Yeah. I was starting to feel a little older a couple of years ago, and when I found Alluvium, it is bringing me back. It's making me feel younger. I'm interested in a video game again, which I hadn't been for a while.
And it's cool, like, we are getting a little older, but we're still, like, into the innovative technology, like blockchain technology, Alluvium. Like, this is cutting edge stuff.
Yeah, so. He's bringing those two worlds together.
It's a young man's game, but we're going to be here a while.
We will. But that's the end here. That's the end of episode 13. That means we are 6 months into this.
That's
every other week. We haven't missed one. You can call us Mr. and Mr. Consistency here, I guess. But yeah, so we'll be back in another 2 weeks, and 2 weeks after that, and we're going to keep going strong. 13 down, let's get another 13 for that full year. Can't wait for this game to come out.
The 6-month anniversary. I should have brought a cake.
I know, right? I'd smash it in your face.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Later.